Good morning, everybody, or afternoon, evening, midnight. I don't know, you're Dracula or something. This video is to show you how you can customize your own static page. There's several ways on how you can create a static page. Okay, right now, remember that on BD, all static pages mean that you change them here either through a widget or you customize them with individually created pre-made elements here. Um, However you want to do them. Okay. They're static pages that you change yourself here. Okay. That's what makes them static. Here's the example one that we're using, which is this page here. And this is a super fast crash course into how to use Bootstrap on BD. Before there was a video about this, but I totally lost it. So let's just dig in and create a new one for it. So for this video, I already created my own elements that I want to start playing with. Before I continue and show you, the code here and how you can create this to start practicing, because you got to practice and understand how Bootstrap works, okay? I wanted to show you a couple of things that you need to know when you're creating a static page, because it will change the way that literally change the way that the page is rendered. So um, this page type, let's start with that one. So if on the page type you select, instead of single web page, you select custom widget as web page, it does this, and then you select the custom, which is in this case this widget. You select the custom widget that you want to do there, use there. Let's put example here again. That will literally remove everything. And when I say everything, I mean everything from the JavaScript files to the CSS code to everything. So if I refresh this page, it will only show, literally, it will only show what the content of the widget is. Why is this helpful? Because that way you can control literally the way that the whole thing is going to look, without header, without footer, without a bunch of classes in JavaScript code jumping into the actual page. And obviously, if you do it like that, it's because I'm assuming that you know a lot about CSS, for example. If you're not gonna do the interaction of the site, like the user interacting with it, and if you are gonna do it, then I'm assuming you also know a lot about JavaScript. If you don't, then don't change the page type to custom widget. Just leave it in single web page, which is the default one, and you call the widget like this. That way we can reuse the CSS classes that BD has, the JavaScript classes or methods that BD has, the Bootstrap classes that, well, Bootstrap has. And it's easier for you to develop this quickly instead of, uh, doing it without a boilerplate or having a base to start working on. Okay. So let's assume that you want to do it the faster way, which is this one, but you don't want the header, for example. If you go to page options, you got all these things here. So let's say that we don't want the main menu. Obviously, you don't see the main menu here because it's I gotta make it bigger so you can actually see it. There you go. So you see home, member directory, how it works, blah 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 blah. If I remove the main menu option here and we save that baby there, we refresh here, you see that that went up a little bit, but if I keep on going, there's no main menu anymore. If I remove the top header menu, that's this part here, we refresh, and that's gone there. And we keep on removing stuff like, oh, I don't need the footer here. Yeah, because your custom page is gonna, I don't know, it's gonna do something. It's gonna include your own footer, or maybe it doesn't need the footer. So that's all that we see there. And I can keep on removing stuff. Maybe we don't want banners here, and we don't want the header. Okay. So it will just show almost identical to the here on the page type, almost identical to the custom widget idea. So there you go, like that. But maybe you don't want, for example, if I keep on doing this, you see that there's like all this space here, and maybe you don't want that. Okay, maybe you don't want that spacing like that. So full screen page width, you enable that one there, and then if I refresh, you're gonna see that the thing is gonna stretch out to the sides, and I can keep on going like this, and we'll try to stretch as much as possible until it gets to a certain point. But you could potentially stretch this even further with CSS. So I just wanted to show you that. Okay. Now that's basically the sum of everything that I wanted to show you here. There's other options here, but we won't be playing around with that one. Let's just remove this one here, and we see the code. And let me stretch this page over here, and we're gonna play around with it like this. So here we see the whole page. That page it has this code here. I won't be pasting this code in Facebook because one is hell, and two, I'd rather you guys pause the video, copy the code. This this is basically the same thing as this and all the other ones here. It's just that it changes. Let me shrink this a little bit there. It changes just the image that's grabbing. That's all that's happening there. Okay. Let me refresh here. Okay, there we go. So that's you can see that you can pause, see how I structure this whole thing. These are all the images that we're showing here. This is not really needed because you could put the images here with an image tag, HTML tag, and you're done. I did it like this because that way I can actually visually show you this better, which is the point of the video, for you to learn how to use Bootstrap. So let's begin. On Bootstrap, there are, and I'm going to show you this puppy here. Whee! See, these are my cheat sheet, the abbreviation of the things that you'll be learning on this video. So first, you got the container types. What are the container types? Those are specific classes, like you can see here, container. Okay, right here. That will be this one. They contain other elements. That's what they are for. You got container fluid too. Container fluid basically makes the whole thing stretch all the way to the sides or up to where it can. I'm going to edit this code, for example. If I change this to container fluid, it will do that. See? And if I remove the padding from container fluid, you get the full thing. Like I can keep on going like this, and you see that it actually did the full thing there. That's container fluid. Those are the classes that you will be putting here when you want to create a parent element that wraps around all the baby elements, the children elements there, in the way that you want it to do it. There's only, or basically the popular ones, container, container fluid, and row. Row will always be either independent, like you can do it like this, just row there, that's it. Or row could be inside another element that's container or container fluid. Okay, so how would that work? You know what? To optimize the video, I'm just gonna grab all this. I'm gonna put it here on the CSS. Let's save that baby. We actually don't need the style tags here. Let me go all the way up here. There we go. Let me save it. And let's refresh, and that should give me the same thing, except for the image going all the way to the sides. There we go. Beautiful. Okay. So let me stretch this over here. So now we see the code here. Let me put container fluid here so at least you can see the idea of what's the difference between container fluid and container normal container. Let me refresh. And you see that it stretches up to what it can. If you remove the padding, that happens. Okay. For the padding, and that's why I wanted to show you this, we're going to go little by little. The padding is actually mentioned here. But all of this is it's actually required. It's actually required for you as a developer or you as an owner of the site that wants to create a static page to know. To know. So there's 4 things here. You got the container types, which now you know. Okay. The you can have multiple rows inside a container, and you can have multiple containers also inside a container. But the recommendation is not putting a container inside a row. You just this will always be a container children of these two. You could, however, have a container fluid inside a container or a container inside of a container fluid. With that in mind, meaning that's for the parents here, okay, for the parent elements. Just in case, parents and children relationships is when an element has inside of it other elements. So those other elements are considered the children of the daddy or mommy element here. And this mommy or daddy element would be the actual parent of all of them. Okay. So in this case, these are applied to the parents of whichever elements you actually want to showcase here. So in this case, all these elements that have images, basically. Okay. So now we move to column types. So I did it like this to explain to you that, for example, if you wanted to show an element or adapt an element to a phone, you use the XS extra small here, or small, medium, or large, depending on the device. So typically this is applied to a phone, tablet, laptops, desktops. Okay? How do you apply that? I don't understand. What in the world are you talking about? Let me show you. So you can understand this format. This format means that you could type something like this. Okay? You see? Call dash, which you see here, and then you pick one of these guys here for the specific device that you want to target, dash, which you see here, and then you pick a number from 1 to 12. Why 12? Because that's the maximum columns allowed by the Bootstrap system. It's a long explanation why it was done like that. So I could put here 1, 2, 3, keep on going until I get to 12. Okay, that's what this means. Another example would be, for example, if I do this, same thing. I'm putting, you can see here, column, dash, you can see here, the MD, which is over there, and the 6, which is a number from 1 through 12. I'm going to explain what the sizing means here. Okay, so here, this means that when they're on the phone, you want to use the full width of the screen, up to 12 columns. When they're on the desktop, that's what this is for, you want to use half the width of the monitor. What do you mean half, or how do you determine if it's going to be half or full or whatever? You do it based on how many columns you can actually put, based on what Bootstrap offers. So if you want to use the full width, that's 12. If you want to use half of it, that's 6. If you wanted to use 1/3, that's 4. 4 columns. Okay, because it's 4 columns out of 12. If you grab 12, you divide it by 4, you get 3 chunks there. That means that 3 items will show per row. That's how this translates. So in this case, only 1 item will show per row. Up to 2 items can show per row. Up to 3 items can show per row, because you're basically dividing 12 by whatever number you're putting here. Here, you guessed it, it's 4 items per row. And here, 6 items per row, and basically 12 items per row. Okay, these are the nice, clean options that you can put there whenever you want to show items in a specific way, depending on the device. So maybe you want to show 3 items on desktop, 2 devices on tablet, and one item per row, I mean, on the phone. So that's what this whole thing is for. So let's put another example here. Let's say that I wanted to show a specific item or a group of items I wanted to show 4 of them, okay, on the desktop. Here's the desktop. But on the tablet, I want to show 3. So we put this like this. Remember, it's 12 divided by 4. That gives me 3. But on the phone, I just want to show 1. So I would do this. And this whole thing, I would put it here. And you're going to see that in real time. Okay. Let's put it here on all of these ones, at least on the first 4. That way you can visually understand what's happening with this code here. So I'm gonna refresh. You're gonna see that there's 4 here. Okay. Right now it detected. Oh, it looks like you're on the desktop. That's what the MD detected there. The more that you start shrinking this, the more it guesses. Oh, you're in the tablet now. That's why I'm showing you 3. Now this one is kicking in. The one that it's saying, well, each item is going to use 4 columns out of the 12, which would mean it's only going to show 3 of them per row. If I keep on going like that until I get to the phone version, then this happens. Okay, so right now it thinks I'm on the phone, and that's how you can change the behavior, the design, or responsive design is called, between devices using Bootstrap. Okay, see? So that's how it's behaving with all those. If I were to copy this over to the rest, okay, and just save it, you'll see that there's going to be 4 here and then 4 here, and then we'll adapt in a nice clean way between them. Okay, here you see that it's 3. Remember, when you got to the tablet version, which is this one, you literally set there because there are 4 columns each one, and each one is out of 12 columns, each one is taking 4. That means that there's only 3 items. The other ones got pushed down. So it's 3 here. The other one that was supposed to be here went down here. You can see the 3 dots there. Let me put it back so you can see. The 3 dots is here, but when it got to a certain point, it went down here. Then you keep on seeing the other ones like that until it gets to the phone version, where it's just one like that. Unless we go here and we say, no, the images are very small. I know that I can fit 2 per row. So we just change it like that. And then you got your version of 2 items per row on the phone. See? So now if I keep on growing this to the phone, to the tablet version, you see 3. And if I keep on going to the desktop version, you see 4. And I could keep on going, but just it's gonna look weird. But now you understand how you can, by using the columns, again, let me bring this up here. By using call dash the type of device you're targeting and how many columns out of 12 that item is going to use per row. So again, let's repeat this. This is using 3, each item is using 3 columns per row on the desktop. On tablet, it's using 4 columns per row. That means that it's only going to show 3. And then on the phone, it's using 12 out of 12 columns. That means that it's only going to show 1 per row. Okay. Hopefully you can repeat that whole thing, or at least that this part explain how you can analyze or understand how this works. So some people, if I say, here's 6 and here's, the maximum is 12 and you're picking 6, they immediately understand, okay, so it's going to show 2. They understand that. Some people, if I say, this is how many columns this item will use out of 12 per row. Per row. The moment I say that, they're like, okay, now I see why it shows this many on this row, and then the second row, and then the third row, and then the fourth row. So it's however you want to analyze this, understand the column types. But here, basically, you see the format here. And with this, you also understand that you can mix and match them, and you can put rules about how they're supposed to show depending on the device that's looking at them. Okay, or at least the resolution, the width of the device that's looking at them. With that in mind, we're going to jump into the special column types, which is they're not used many times, but when they're used, they're very useful. Okay, you avoid having to do so much things. So it's the same format as you can see here, similar to this one. The only thing that's changing is that between this group and this group, I'm adding another dash in a group of words that you're going to be putting there. So let me explain what this is. Oh my. So here we are going to do the following. We are going to let me just delete this. Well, actually, yeah, let me simplify because I don't want to scare you. You'll be like, holy mother, that's a lot of code. Wow. If you want, you can just forward the video. This is annoying. At least you can do it. Okay. Now, what happens if this part is very interesting? What happens if you don't specify the phone or the tablet, the large one, and you just specify one? This happens. So here, okay, you got 4 there, which is this thing here. Okay, and then it just takes the rules of whatever either the platform offers by default, because you never specify that there. You could literally check out the code there and you'll see that BD has like a smart thing there that takes care of that part for the phone. So that's why you need to specify your own if you want to take control over how this behaves. Okay. So so now we're gonna start talking about this ones. So I want to talk about the offset one. Okay. I'm gonna create the following. Right now we got call MD3. You can see there, call MD3. And we're gonna create call MD, because you can see it here, dash offset 2. Okay. And we're gonna put it there. I'm gonna put it there. This is what offset does. I gotta put it like this so you can visually see it. And refresh. And it does the following. It moved this item, or it didn't offset off this many columns. So this code here means wherever this item was supposed to show, you're gonna move it to the right 2 columns. And that's why you don't see it here. You see that it actually moved to the right two positions. One here, another one, and then that's the third column there. Oh, that's the second column there. So 1 and then 2. If I put more, let's put 5 here. Okay, let's refresh, and you're gonna see that soccer ball keeps on moving and moving. Oh my. Okay, that's what offset does. Okay. Now I want to show you what pull and push also do. By the way, you can mix and match them together, and you're gonna see how I'm gonna try to fix this moving thing here by mixing an offset with a pull and push. So we got the offset now clear there. Let's change this to a push. I'm gonna push 1 because I want to show you what's gonna happen. So again, the soccer ball is supposed to show here, and I pushed the soccer ball 1 position. The difference between pushing and the offset is that the push does not affect the other elements. You can see that now the soccer ball that was supposed to be here, it got pushed to the right one column out of the 12, but it didn't affect the other elements that you can see here. Okay? If I push it 2 columns, and that's why it's very important to understand, how many columns there are, how many columns a specific item is using, so you can push and pull and offset something. So now they're like basically they're brothers. They're together there. Basically you're going to a soccer event. That's what this means. And then you're going to eat, and then you're going to be sleeping, and then something, something, something. But here you can see the push event. Now we're going to do a pull event. We're going to pull. We're pulling where you did the offset, where you did the push. Now we're pulling. And you guessed it. Well, if the push is pushing to the right, I'm guessing the pulling is pulling to the, yeah, you got it. You got it. And that way you can position stuff around. But that's not all. You can also mix this stuff together. So one way of mixing them is, for example, what happens if I offset the first one by 2? Let me show you. Okay, so I offset that one by 2. What happens if I do this? On the next one, I pull. Did I type it correctly? Let me double check something. Did I type? Okay. That's what I wanted to show you. I'm mixing and matching them together. And you can actually see, oh, okay, so the I could offset the whole thing, but push this one over here. So now you're seeing how you're mixing and matching them all together here. Okay. Or you can go, I don't know, you can go crazy and just pull this thing, and visually speaking, people will think that the car was first. Let me show you. Okay, so we need to offset this by probably 3 more here, and we pull here by 4. Is it 4? I forgot what I put there. Let me refresh. Okay, so let's put here what, 6 then? Because the offset is offsetting the position. So now you visually see, you would assume the car was first and then the soccer ball, but you can also take into consideration that the more that you offset here, the more that you gotta pull here. So if I remove this completely, and refresh, the car went literally all the way to the left of the screen and it's gone. I went too far. Whoops. We put 3 here. You'll see that it'll be coming out from the left. Let's refresh. And now it's on top of this one. If I pull just 2 positions. Now it's going to be here. Okay. If I pull 1 position, it's going to be almost here. And then if I pull nothing, let's do it like that. So you can see. You can see what's going to happen. There we go. Which is the same thing as you not typing this in. Okay. So now that we got that there, let's remove this baby here. And now we're going to start talking about the special classes. So again, I put this like this because you can create combinations like T-pad, L-pad, R-pad, B-pad, or no pad. Same for this combination here. So it would be T margin, L margin, and so on and so forth. Now, what are those letters? T, blah, 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 blah. That's just top padding, left, right, bottom, and no padding at all. Same for margin. Top, left, right, bottom, etc., etc., etc. And for this one, as you guessed it, is text dash left, center, right, justify, etc., etc., etc. So let's do the text center or text left and text right. So in order for me to do that properly, I need to put, I'm gonna do this so you can actually just see two and visually actually see the difference with and without that. Let's refresh. Okay, so we're gonna start adding text to this elements. Okay, so here we're gonna put soccer ball, little car, yummy food, sleepy, farm, food, beauty, and spa, something, shopping mall there, and car repair. Obviously, do note that because this is not an image element, but a background element, the text is going to show like up here or somewhere in there. The text is showing here because the full column size is that whole area here. The whole area here. Okay? It's like half of this whole thing. Actually, if you right click something here and you hover over the code, it actually highlights in blue the whole area. The blue and greenish thing there, that's the whole area for that. Here's that one, okay, that one. And you can visually see what the area covers. Now, we're gonna put the text center, special class, text dash center, okay? Again, text dash center. In the sport one, so text center, and watch what's gonna happen. So text center, and it's gonna try to center this based on the space of the whole item or container there for that item, meaning that call dash md dash 6. So that it will end up showing the soccer text. Well, in this case, on top of the image, just in case that image is showing there, because on the CSS, this is here, background position center. But if I actually remove that, then the soccer ball is going to show in the default position. There, see? So that's something to think about. I'm doing it like this because I want to center everything. That's all. Okay, so we got that there. Okay, we got the soccer ball. We got the background element there. Let's say that you want to create space between these two images. Okay, let me put this back here. When you're talking about the actual element between one element and another one, not the content inside of it, but the actual element, you use the margin one. So here you got top margin, left margin, right margin, bottom margin. And what we want to do is we want to create a space, a margin between this item and this item. Same for this one and that one. So we would add, if you guessed it, using the margin special class, we'll put a bottom margin on it. So it's B margin. So we're just going to do this. Okay. Okay. Something like that. Give me a second. And now they have that space there. It's a nice space. Okay. Between them. Now, what happens if it's not the change that you want to do is not between the elements. It's actually the content of the element. So for that one, we'll use the padding. So let's say that this soccer ball is too high. You actually want that a little bit down, a little bit down. So we're gonna add a little bit of padding, sorry, at the top. So for that, we use T pad. The T here, and then the word pad at the end. T pad. Let's put a T pad here and save it. And now, when I refresh, that soccer ball should be a little bit down, a little bit. Okay, there you go. Now it's a little bit down there. And that's what the padding is for. You can add padding at the top, left, right, bottom, etc., etc., etc. Okay. With that in mind, now that you know about the type of containers and how they work, the type of columns, which is this is 90% of Bootstrap. If you can understand this, you're good to go. You're good to go. Everything else, meaning this, and all this here, is just the other 10%. 90% of what you need to learn is this. So I was showing you this as an example for the static page. So you can say that, for example, I want a huge image here, okay, to fill out, um, 10 out of the 12 columns that will be there, and then the other two columns would have uh, I don't know, soda pop something. We have some text there. So that means that you will have an image here. It could be a large image if you want to. On one side, on the next, there's some text here. You can see, they can appreciate there. So imagine this is a bigger image, and here you have some text next to the image. So that one means that, let me visually show it to you. I right click here. If I hover over this, you can see that the whole image is, that item is taking that whole area, and then the text is over here with the two columns. I could put more text there, but obviously if you're going to be using this much columns, I would assume that you would put an image of that, more or less of that size or aspect ratio. So it looks proportional, it looks nice for your static page. So here you have one row with an image and some text next to it. Let's actually make this very small and this one very big. Basically the opposite there. Okay, let me refresh. And we can put a lot of text here. A lot of text. Pop, 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 pop. Okay, so we got this here. Okay, just in case, this is showing here because it's taking into consideration the space that this specific element is using. If you wanted to make sure that this didn't happen, then you do the following. Okay, so here's one example of the row being used to maintain that row for those two elements based on the biggest height of them both, meaning the soccer ball. So the soccer ball uses this much height. That means that the rest of the row will also use that much height. Doesn't matter how much text or whatever you put there. Okay. So here we have, the image of a member and about them, maybe one of the categories here and there. And now you can start playing around with some ideas about how you can move things around. But at least you have the base understanding of how you can use Bootstrap. Now, with that in mind, I'm going to go to the home page. to the actual homepage. Let me put this over here. Okay. And let's say that we got, I always check if something is actually using Bootstrap. So here you got, now that you understand how columns work on Bootstrap, you can read here, and the moment you see call MD4, you know that on that whole row, there can only be up to 3 elements because it's 4. If I were to put 3, then you could support up to 4 elements. Here, visually speaking, I'm assuming that it's using Bootstrap, but visually speaking, if I see 2, I would assume that this is happening too. Call MD6. So a 6 means that there can only be 2 elements here. Let's say that you don't want these two to be side by side. You want them one on top of the other one. So just change that 6 to 12. And here's the other one. And there you go. But you don't want them to be touching each other because it looks bad or something. Well, you put a B margin. Remember, B margin. That adds that space in there. No, but you want more space between them. Then you go to the one at the bottom, this one, and what you do is you add a T margin, a top margin. So that adds even more space there. And you're like, oh, okay, that's nice, but I don't want it to stretch all the way. Don't worry, that's what the offset is for. So if we turn this to a 4, for example, maybe you want it like that, but you want to offset it so it's centered. So you do the following. Let's put a 4 here, and you can see that it's centered. Well, how did you know that you needed to put a 4 there? Well, you calculate the following. You know that there's, if it's using 4 columns, the item that you're using, there's 8 left. There's 8 columns left, empty columns that you're not using. Just divide that by half, and almost all the time, it depends on how many columns you're using here, but almost all the time you'll get to the center. Same thing here. So if we go here and you change this to let's do 6, okay? Because of because of the size there. Also, maybe you don't want it to touch the bottom here, so you also want to add not just the T margin but a B margin, so it does that, okay? But you also want to center that one. So I know that there's only 6 columns left, so I do call MD offset 3 because half of the 6 that are left, and voila, it's centered. Obviously, I'm doing this in real time. It's not being saved, but it's for you to get an idea. Many times I do it like that so I can get a visual idea on how I want the thing to work. Sometimes, for example, you put a background here and you don't want this to be in the middle. You want it to be somewhere else. So let's change this to, let me just remove all this. I mean, for now. Let me see, because I see that there's something else here. Okay. This is completely being centered. That's because of the center block here. Another one that I could mention there. If you want to center an actual image or an actual block, you use center block. But here we're using the default Bootstrap ones. And if you want to offset this, remember you can offset now, or actually pull. Maybe you want to pull this. You don't want it there, so let's pull it 2 more there. Oh yes, this is how I like it. Yeah. But on the phone, you don't want to pull anything. You just want it to occupy the whole space. Well, on the tablet, because I believe that this goes away on the phone. So on the tablet, you want the whole thing to take up the whole width. So let's test that. And there you go. It's not offsetting unless, I put it like this, unless it gets to that point where it's on the desktop. So this is where you start testing. Well, I think I pulled too much on the desktop. Maybe you want to put it like that. There you go. So now it's nice and neat. So here it looks like this. You keep on going down, and then it goes like that. You're like, okay, it still goes down. If I keep on going down, hopefully nobody will have a device like this. But if they keep on going down, it goes to to tablet, and you can see the center there. Okay, and now you're able to apply the knowledge of your Bootstrap on this video to actual elements on this site. Let me look for a case here. So here's another one where let's change this page to the standard or my recommended one. So I'm gonna go to Menu Manager. So we can also do the Bootstrap part there. So I'm gonna select this one here, menu pricing menu. Let's go to my content. Okay, I don't want to kill this one because this is the testing or teaching site. So we're gonna call this one join old. Save that baby there. And we're gonna create a new page called join. Let's do that super fast. Like a ninja. And I'm gonna paste this code here. Whoops, that didn't go well. There we go. So let me put it like this. Save it. Okay, beautiful. Let me refresh here now, in which you have the join page, but with columns like this. So sometimes people are like, well, I want to show only 2. I don't want to show 3. Or maybe you want to show 4. Okay, so you know what? Let's do that too here. So we're going to edit the menu manager. And this one. Okay, let me create a new one here. And we're going to call it plan 4. Okay. And I'm just going to create a couple here. List 1, list 2, something. We'll just put that in here by just dragging them around more or less like that. Then you're done. Okay, let's go here, refresh. Okay, whoops, I forgot about the styling. So the styling you can actually see in the classes for each item. So let me show you. You click settings here and you see this here. Okay, you also see the Bootstrap classes. So let's apply those to this, and then the actual items inside those options there, you can see them here. You have a price, you have a sub price, and you have, typically they're called features, but let's just put the price here and the sub price. Price, sub price. Okay, that's it. Let me save this, refresh, and let's play around with this. So we got 4 plants, and you want to show all 4 on the same row. Well, remember the rule. You got this here. If it says 4, that means that it's 12 divided by 4. That means that there's only 3 per row. If we change that 4 to a 3, then this starts happening. You can visually see that, it looks like everything's going to fit into one row. Why, yes, it did. Obviously, if you put a lot of text, this is going to look horrible. So if you have a lot of text, the recommendation is, it's more than the 3 columns would support, just put a 6. Okay, you got 6 here, and you can have something like that, making sure that the more popular membership levels would show at the top. Once you're satisfied with how you want this to go, you go to the menu manager and just change the one that's here. Okay, so let's assume that you still want to put 4 on the same row. So just change that 4 to 3. And based on the knowledge that you now have about Bootstrap, you are able to save some money there and do it your way. There you go. See? So hopefully this video will help you create not only the static pages, all this. There's a lot of tricks here involved. So I'm assuming you're going to watch the video a lot. but it help you with the design of the public profile, members, posts, well, the join page, the home page, etc., etc., etc. Okay, so remember, there's still a couple of partnerships left. Not so much the premium one here, because there's only one left now, but there's three left for the maintenance partnership, which we can meet. I can always assist you, personally speaking, so you avoid many problems that, well, all of you have, independently of the platform. But on BD, I can assist you here. We can do quick code fixes. I can also teach you or your staff. You save time, you save headaches, you save a lot of problems that you don't have to be dealing with, and you can tackle directly with your clients, your members, your services, without so many problems in your mind, or handling them, or having to wait so long for the problems to be handled. Okay, so there's a lot of benefits that you get for the maintenance partnership. With that said, big hugs, and as always, think positive.